So we're making Zhong dumplings today. Well, first of all, happy Lunar New Year, everyone. We are still celebrating. It's a long celebration. I think it started on the 10th and typically goes for like 10 days, I think. Everything in China is like shut down. Our factories like shut down. We're not going to hear from them for a while and got no production going. But it's great. We had a celebration this weekend. Let's see, we did a lot this weekend. We had all kinds of events in Los Angeles. I just got back from LA. If you don't know, I recently moved to Vegas. And also the reason why I sound like this is because I just had a really busy weekend in LA and I've come down with like a little bit of a cold. So please excuse my congested sinuses. I think Elizabeth is in the same boat as me. So we're both gonna be struggling slightly through this today, but appreciate you guys joining us. And yeah, excited to make some dumplings. So dumplings is like, Lunar New Year classic. It's a great event to, do together with your family and friends. Really interactive. It's just like hot pot, right? It's like really interactive and fun way to spend time with your friends and family. And it's about like wholeness and like, the wrapping of the meat or the filling in this like little pocket. It's about like togetherness, wholeness, and so lots of meaning behind. And it also like, sometimes it looks like little pockets of like little golden, right? So it's like it represents wealth as well, wealth and abundance. So yeah, really, really fun recipe. So Zhong dumplings, for you guys who don't know, it is a classic Chengdu food. I love Zhong dumplings. I grew up eating it. It's like this type of dumpling that it's really characterized by the shape of it. So it's actually Zhong is a word in Chinese. Zhong it means bell. So it's a bell-shaped dumpling. It's actually one of the easiest shapes to make because it's literally just a half moon shape. But we're also, I'll also show you some other ways to make dumplings like with different pleats and stuff. But the other thing that defines Zhong dumplings is the sauce. So um, I'm sure you know, hopefully, that we have a sauce at Five by Jing called Zhong sauce. And it is inspired by this dish. What I love about it is that, I mean, really the highlight is the sauce. And it is like a sweet, spicy, savory elixir of life. And it's basically, I would say it's mainly two parts, maybe three parts. One is a sweet soy sauce. So it's in Chinese it's called fuzhi soy sauce, and it's fuzhi means like kind of like it's kind of like a doctored soy sauce. So what it is like, a slow brewed, very umami soy sauce that's been brewed with brown sugar. And I like it equal parts brown sugar and soy sauce. So it's quite sweet, but it is balanced by the savory soy sauce. And then love all the great feedback on Zhong. And then there's other spices involved as well. We put in star anise, cassia bark, shiitake mushroom, dried shiitake mushroom, and then kind of that concoction sits over, you can eat it right away, but it's better if you leave it for a couple days and then the flavor really develops, and then that then becomes your sweet soy sauce base. And it's just so aromatic. It's so wonderful. You can use it for so many different things. You can just keep like a jar of it in your house, and it's kind of like I think in Southeast Asia they have like sweet soy sauce, right? So this is a version of that. That's one of the components. The other component is chili oil. So you can make your own chili oil, or you can buy, something like Citron Gold, or even take the oil from the chili crisp, um, and use that. But so, combination of soy sauce, chili oil, and then the third component, which is like essential to Zhong sauce, is garlic. So typically it's like just minced raw garlic. And we cook it in our sauce a little bit just to get rid of the moisture in the garlic so that it can be shelf stable. But if you're making it fresh from scratch at home, you just add freshly minced garlic, and then that is the sauce, and it's so delicious. Okay, so what we are gonna do is make everything from scratch. So we're gonna make Zhong sauce today. You don't have to. You can obviously buy Zhong sauce, from the store. But I'm gonna show you how to make it from scratch. And then we're gonna start with that because you want the sauce to be ready by the time. So we're gonna make this Zhong sauce first. Then we're gonna make our dumplings. Then we're gonna cook the dumplings and then mix up our bowl of sauce. All right, does that sound good? Yeah, you guys are getting the recipe for Zhong sauce. This is our actual recipe. Yeah, and obviously ingredients make all the difference, right? So it's in the actual ingredients that we choose that we source from Sichuan that's gonna make our Zhong sauce taste different from if you were just using ingredients you bought at your local market. But yeah. Oh no. How do you defrost wrappers? Can you put it in like the microwave? I'm not sure. I think you could. Well, it's not really top secret. It is in my cookbook, so it's already out there. So I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna come over to the well, actually, can you see my cell phone?
One
screen?
second, let me pin it. Where did you go?
Yeah. Small pot.
Hmm? What was that?
Yeah. Do we use bigger small pots and pans for this?
You can use a small one. Like I don't know if you can see the one that I have right now. Is
Oh.
mine?
Oh,
Is this? Did it disappear?
Changing.
oh,
Can you see, Jing?
See somebody
Can you see?
else, huh?
yay, other people.
Can you
Hold
see
on.
Jing's pot?
No, I can't.
Try going
Oh,
to
Elizabeth, I
speaker
think you
view.
need.
Because it keeps flipping to other people. I can't see it. I'm on my phone, so it's wonky.
Let me
Wait,
try.
Elizabeth, you said what?
I pinned them, but let me just try to spotlight just the. Can you guys see the
Oh.
pot now?
I see it now.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. All right. Yeah, this is being recorded. This is okay. So, first up, we've got soy sauce, right? So the recipe calls for half a cup. So, and you can also just like make as much of this as you want, because like I said, this is really delicious. And you can double up on this part of the recipe if you want just a lot more of this. Roughly half a cup. And then, sorry, I don't know how to position my computer, so it's there. Then we need our brown sugar. And our brown sugar, it is going to be basically the same volume as our soy sauce. So I just have a pretty basic one here. You can, the higher quality of brown sugar you use, the better it's going to taste. Also, the soy sauce I'm using is this one. It's like a fancy Lee Kum Kee one.
What does it mean that it's double fermented?
I mean, they
Ferments longer?
fermented it twice, but I don't know. Well, according to their thing, it says it's made with an ancient secret recipe and double fermented using a high quality koji starter. So I find it has like a lot of really great umami without a lot of a lot of soy sauce brands use MSG to increase the umami, and they don't do that, so that's good. So this is Lee Key. Okay, so this is very difficult to show. Also, my computer is like kind of blurry. But okay, so I'm just gonna measure in about half a cup roughly of this brown sugar. It's like not that serious. You can just like measure by eye. So you'll see it's a lot of sugar, but but it like balances out with the savoriness. So roughly half a cup. All right. So what I'm gonna do is actually just start the heat and put it on like kind of low medium. Because if you put it too high, sometimes the sugar and the soy sauce, it'll start bubbling really aggressively and it'll kind of spill out. So just keep an eye on it. So use like a rubber spatula you have them handy, and just make sure to blend it. Make sure that the sugar fully melts. There's sometimes like clumps and stuff. Your kitchen's gonna start to smell really amazing. How can we get access to the recording? We will be sending out an email afterwards with the link.
If you don't get it for some reason, then you can just send me an email. I'm Elizabeth@flybyjing.com. And then this recipe is also in the cookbook. I'm so glad you got it.
Okay, so other things we need. Cassia bark, star anise, and dried shiitake mushrooms. So you'll see like in Sichuan cooking.
Mushroom. Mushroom.
Is there a question? No, okay. In Sichuan cooking, there's a lot of star anise and cassia bark. They're kind of like this duo that you see a lot of. It's just very aromatic. These smell amazing. So just drop in a couple. This is a very small amount of soy sauce, so just a couple is fine.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna put in a tiny little piece of cassia bark. You don't need to put in that much more than that.
Remind me what the difference between cinnamon and cassia bark is.
It's just a different like species, but they're I mean, if you look at the back of this, it literally calls it dried cinnamon. I think well, it looks different. Cassia bark is usually like much wider, and cinnamon is like kind of more tightly coiled.
Okay.
But
It's okay to smell like cinnamon?
sorry,
It's okay that it smells like cinnamon?
yeah, you can substitute with cinnamon if you want. But cassia bark, I feel like is an earthier flavor. Like
It smells very different. Me.
yeah, they're related, but they are different, very different. But if you are in a pinch, you can substitute it. It's better than
What
not.
all have you put in everything now into that pot?
Yeah, I just put in a couple pieces of star anise and a couple pieces of the cassia bark.
And garlic, no?
No, so you wait on the garlic and you wait on the chili oil. So we're just making so remember I said there's a 3-part components to the sauce. One is the soy sauce, one is the chili oil, one's garlic. So we are just making the soy sauce part of it right now. Okay, so mine is almost melted. The sugar, I still see some clumps, so I'm just using the spatula to try to, smooth it out.
Our friend Kamiko has a question about Mexican cinnamon. It's easier to separate it. Can that be substituted in?
Easier to separate and isn't as hard as regular cinnamon sticks. I've never used Mexican. That sounds good.
It kind of the way you broke apart your cassia bark reminded me of Mexican cinnamon because you can pull it apart in like threads and pieces, whereas Mexic or regular cinnamon is so hard, like you feel like you have to like hammer and chisel it to break it.
Yeah, like regular cinnamon is so tightly coiled. So if Mexican cinnamon is like more like wider, bigger pieces like this, like it sounds pretty similar to this. Yeah, I'm sure you can substitute it. Okay, so it's like almost there. It's still a little clumpy in some bits, but as long as all the sugar is melted, you're like pretty okay. You can keep it simmering on like a low heat for a bit. Again, keeping an eye on it just because the sugar and soy sauce concoction sometimes bubbles over. But once you have it simmer, and also depending on how much you're doing, right? Like if you have a lot more soy sauce and a lot more brown sugar, you might want to simmer it longer and really get like the aromatics from the spices to be released. But sometimes like if I'm just only making like half a cup, right? This is like nothing. Then you know, soon after it's fully melted, I'll just turn off the heat and then I'll just keep it like I'll let it sit. So you let it sit, sometimes even overnight, over several days, and then just keep the spices in there. By the time you're ready to use the soy sauce, you take the spices out. Okay. You keep the spices in there, it'll just continue to infuse. But this is basically how you do it. That's it. It's super easy. All right. So mine is pretty much melted. I'm going to turn off my heat just because I don't want to keep watching over it. And then start making the dumplings. All right. Any questions about the soy sauce?
We just leave it.
Yeah, just leave it. You know, you can, if you want, you can have it simmering on low heat. But I've turned mine off. I think it's fine. And because we're gonna be, you know, typically if you it's preferable to keep it overnight and like let the flavor really develop. But since we're kind of just gonna make it and eat it right away today, you know, it doesn't really matter. You can just turn it off. Okay, so, whoa, this is weird. There's two of me.
Do you want both of you or do you want just one of you?
I think both is fine, maybe.
Double angles. See everything.
I'm gonna try to
Can everyone see two of Jing?
I'm gonna point it down so you can really see what I'm doing with the dumpling.
Love it.
Okay,
There's
so
supposed to be two of her?
what? Sorry.
There's supposed to be two of you?
Oh, you don't see two of me?
I think it might not work if you're on your phone. So if you're on your phone, you probably have to swipe like to the right to probably toggle between the two Jings.
Oh yeah. Oh, also my bad. Okay, so yeah, people can see too. I forgot one thing. I forgot this the shiitake mushrooms. Okay, so I'm just gonna drop it in now.
Put the shiitakes in your soy sauce, everyone. In there.
Put the shiitake in your soy sauce. It's fine. Let it sit for a bit. It'll just release some of the umami from there. All right. Okay, time to make dumpling filling. So I've got, let's see, what's the best way? Here's the angle. Okay.
That was good. It's like a continuation on my screen of you. It's great.
I've got a stainless steel bowl. I've got some meat that I bought from 99 Ranch. So this is just minced pork. You can get you know, ideally you get a little bit fattier pork, and it just tastes better. But you know, whatever you can get. All right, so we've got the pork, about a pound. Okay, so what I find is if you use about a pound of pork, and then you have a pack of dumpling wrappers, it's typically the perfect amount. Okay, so a pack of dumpling wrappers usually is about 50, like more, give or take 5. So 45, 50, and these are the ones that you can get in most, you know, Asian grocery stores. And then with 1 pound of meat, it's a pretty good ratio. You might have like a little bit of meat left over. It's never perfect, but it's fine. Okay, so fillings wise, there's just a bunch of stuff we're gonna put in it. There's ginger, there's scallions, there's egg, there's cornstarch, there's sesame oil, fish sauce. Oh yeah, say we, that's a good website if you don't have a Chinese grocery store next to you. They ship nationally. Salt and Shaoxing wine. So those are kind of the components. And there's a lot going on there because we want the meat to be really flavorful. My favorite dumplings is like the dumpling good just as it is without having to dip it in a sauce, right? So like start with a great foundation of a dumpling that just tastes good as is. Then any sauce that you put on it, it's just gonna make it even better. All right, so I'm gonna do everything from scratch. So what I'll do first is chop up the onions. So I just got some scallions. So it calls for about four scallions, which is quite a lot. But the green parts only. So I'm gonna just quickly wash it.
Whenever I'm using scallions like this, I always think of like early COVID days when we were all like regrowing scallions.
Yeah. Yeah, I had scallions growing on my windowsill for sure.
Yeah.
I had so many scallions, and then I think we like did a bunch of recipes for scallion pancake and
Mm.
scallion everything. Good old days. So just, you know, roughly slice these. It doesn't have to be super thin. All right. So here are my scallions. I'm gonna put it into meat. Okay. What else do I need to cut up? I need to cut up some ginger. So kind of like a small knob. This is pretty good. It's like actually a lot, but it's pretty thin. So I'm just gonna peel it first. Okay. So I've left just this. So I'm just gonna like mince it. What I usually do is just cut it like into strips. And then from there, I will thinly, after I wash my ginger, I never peel it if I'm grating. Oh yeah, you can totally grate as well. You don't have to peel it. Okay, so now I've got it into thin slices. Now I'm gonna mince it. So ginger and pork is like a really nice combination, actually. Kind of gets rid of the meaty smell of pork. So I think this is actually enough. I don't need more. So roughly this much. Put it in here.
It's about a
Pork.
tablespoon's worth, right?
Yeah, roughly.
Okay.
A little bit, maybe a little bit more than a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons. But yeah. Okay, now. Next, we're just gonna go down the list in the filling. So next, we've got fish sauce. Fish sauce, about a 1 tablespoon. So it's quite a lot. Fish sauce. About 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. Okay. And then 1 teaspoon of ground white pepper. Ground white pepper is really nice, adds a little pungency. I'm just gonna kind of roughly measure by eye. So that's about a teaspoon. All right. And 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. The sesame oil gives it a really nice fragrance. It's 1 tablespoon. And Chinese sesame oil is toasted. It's like a little bit more fragrant than a Western one. Whew. I think the white pepper went up my nose.
Yeah, have it.
Okay,
Figuring out the sciences.
yeah. All right, now cornstarch. So cornstarch is an interesting one. The reason why we put that in is because we want the meat to be really bouncy and tender. That's why we also put in some water. You know, you add water to the cornstarch mixture. It'll tenderize it. You'll see a lot of Chinese cooking when they cook with meat, they'll marinate meat in cornstarch and water first. So like a lot of like beef recipes, for example, you'll the way that they get this tender pieces of meat is through cornstarch. Okay, so just drying off my spoon, going in there for about a tablespoon of cornstarch. All right. Okay. Now, we're still missing salt and an egg, so about a teaspoon of salt. Okay. And 1 egg.
Did you add water already?
Not yet,
Okay.
but you can, yeah. So 1 egg goes in, and then I think the last thing is 1/2 cup of water.
We added the wine and the chili sauce.
Oh no, you're right. We haven't added the wine yet. There's no chili in here.
I mean oil, sorry.
Yeah, we added the sesame oil. Oil was 1 tablespoon. Okay, so I'm gonna put in half a cup of water. It seems like a lot, but it'll soak up. And then Shaoxing wine. This one is about a tablespoon. Ooh. Oh my gosh. This is so hard to do. Oh my God, I literally cannot open this.
Oh no. Reaching.
Oh, Elizabeth.
I can't help you. Hot water, we tried the hot water trick. Rubber band. Ooh, I've never tried that. All his tips. The rubber band gives you grip. I've never tried that.
Rubber.
Something grippy, something grippy.
Okay.
Trey, help.
Yes, and he just stepped out. Oh. Okay, well, you guys do it. I won't do it. Fine, it's not gonna be the end of the world. Okay, so 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing wine. All right. Now you have this like hey, this, oh yeah, the screen was kind of frozen. Now you have this big gloopy mixture. So you just want to make sure it's all really well mixed. I'm gonna use a spoon. Okay. So sometimes I'll wear gloves and just get in there with my hands. Because that's the best way to make sure that it's everything's evenly distributed. So as you can see, like the water kind of starts to get absorbed. You just want to make sure that your meat is really nicely mixed up with all the ingredients. So this is a pretty, like I've done this recipe so many times, so it's pretty foolproof. However, sometimes if I'm like measuring my eye and I'm not like really paying attention, exactly being very precise with what I'm putting in, the way to test the meat before you cook it and make like 50 dumplings is you just take a little bit of it and you can put it in a frying pan with a little bit of oil and just like fry it into like a little meat patty and try the meat and see if it's good. See if it's seasoned enough. But you don't have to do that with this because we were measuring. Okay. This is like pretty much it. You see how like you don't really see any pools of water now. It's like been absorbed. It's also been absorbed by like the cornstarch. And now the meat is pretty bouncy. My mother tastes it and then spits it out. That's pretty hardcore. You could also do
That
that.
is so amazing.
That's like the Asian like grandma memes where they're like they test using their hands to see how hot it is. Yeah. So you could do that or you could just fry it. Okay, cool. So, all right. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is you're gonna come with me. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna start making dumplings. And we're gonna make all of them and then we're gonna fry them. Or cook them. Okay. The way that I normally do it is like I'll get a cutting board and just lay it out. You can use a baking sheet, like a tray. So I'm gonna come sit on my dining table. Right there. You got your meat. So what you also want to have is a little bowl of water. So the bowl of water is what you're gonna use to seal your dumpling. Um, oh, okay.
If anyone is having a hard time or you're on your phone and you can't see like two screens, I just renamed one of the screens Food Cam. So if you go through like scroll through participants and then on your screen, you should be able to click the three little dots and pin Food Cam. I've spotlight both of them. So if you're on your computer, I think you should be able to see both. But if you're on a phone, you might have to pin the one that's called Food Cam.
Okay, I think this works. Google. Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, so got our dumplings here. Lay it out. Got my water. Got my meat filling. Oh, all right. Wrapper. You typically the round ones, they're not actually all the way round. They are oblong shaped. They're kind of oval. So you can kind of tell like by looking at it which way is the long way. So typically you would kind of like fold it the long way. All right, but it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. So I'm going to show you how to do like the Zhong clock shape one first, which is supremely easy. You just put a bit of meat in the middle and dip your finger in this water and make sure that all the sides of the dumpling are wet. All right, so now all you need to do is just fold it, pinch it, and voila, it is just a moon-shaped or bell-shaped dumpling. Okay, so this is the easiest one. What you want to make sure is obviously that like you got all the sides wet, then that it's secure. Because what you don't want is to cook this and have your hard spill out of the wrapper, and that would be a disaster. So that's the most important thing. Make sure it's fully sealed. But this is it. This is a classic Zhong dumpling shape. All right, and something to note is that the shape of your dumpling is going to be it factors into how you cook it, right? So you can cook dumplings in a lot of different ways. You can boil them, you can steam them, and you can pan fry them. So there's if you get into kind of like the specifics, also the type of wrapper will play a factor here as well, because certain wrappers lend themselves better to the preparation method. But just for simplicity, like, so this type of shape, typically you're just gonna boil it. You're not gonna pan fry it because it doesn't, if you look at it, it doesn't really have like the structure that allows for a really nice pan fry. When you get like pan fried like pot stickers and at restaurants and stuff, there's usually like that beautiful golden bottom, right? This doesn't have that, right? So like you know, you can pan fry it, but it's just not optimized for that purpose. So this type of dumpling is for boiling. To get like want to pan fry it, this is the way that I would normally make it. You want to get a flat bottom. So again, put your filling in, make sure that the sides are wet. Now, bring up the sides to the middle and pinch it in the middle. So now you've got it closed in the middle. Now you've got left side open, right side open. What you do is you think about it this way, like you want it kind of flat in your palm. You've got one side and it's going to be flat. The other side is going to be pleated. So you'll pleat it into almost like a pocket. So I'm going to wet my finger again. You're going to bring the right side in towards the middle and then do it again. Okay, you see the pleat? I don't know if you can see it that clearly. And then it's still open, so you got one last pleat. And now the right side is closed. Does that make sense? Okay, now you got to do the same with this left side. Bring it into the middle. Okay, and now I'm finding that I put too much meat inside because now it's hard to seal.
I hate it when this
So
happens.
take some out. It's okay. We could take some out. I know. I'm always like overly ambitious with how much meat I can fill in. And then second pleat and last pleat. And then when you did the pleats, ideally you are pleating it according to the line of the crescent, right? So you're not, so then you still are, you are left with this like nice crescent shape. So now you see it's got the nice pleats, but most importantly, it's got this flat bottom here. So now it sits on your hand, it'll sit in the pan, and it will form that beautiful gold crust. Okay, so that's the other shape. Those are typically the only shapes that I really make. If you have like a square one with like a wonton, someone said, do you prefer round versus square, or it doesn't matter? What do you mean round versus square? Like in terms of the wrapper? Because the wrapper, if it's a square wrapper, then it's a wonton wrapper, not a dumpling wrapper. It's usually much thinner. Yeah, you can make a triangle. So what I would do is I would make the triangle. So imagine if this was a square. If I do this, it would be a triangle, right? And then you take the two edges of the triangle and you fold your middle finger in towards here and you kind of make like a coin shape. Okay. So that's how traditionally you would make wontons in Sichuan. So you would take the triangle and fold it like this, and it's like a coin or a gold ingot shape. You can probably do this with dumpling as well. It's just like the round dumpling wrapper is just much smaller, right? You have less to work with, and it's not as pliable because it's thicker. So then you're just not going to be able to fit as much meat inside. You can definitely do it. All right. Yeah, so what makes wontons different from dumplings is just the thinness of the wrapper. So wontons are usually quite thin and it's a different mouthfeel. It's like kind of slippery. You would use the same meat, you know, same kind of meat mixture. And but you know, wontons are thinner, slipperier, and as a result, you know, you always boil it, right? You don't pan fry wontons. And it's just a little different of an experience than dumplings. Okay. Any other questions about dumpling shapes or anything like that. Are people making them
Could
along?
you just go through the demonstration of how to get the flat bottomed crescent shaped pleated ones? Because I'm slowly getting it, but it still doesn't look anything like yours, of course.
Oh, definitely. So, okay, so you got this, yeah, I put too much in mine again. But so you get your crescent shape first, right? You pinch it at the top in the middle. So now you've got open left side, open right side, and you just pull, you kind of take your index finger, right? Keep your other hand on this middle part. And then you take your index finger and then on one side, pick a side, right? Usually it's like the outer side. On one side, you pinch it towards the middle. And then keep going. And you can do it 2 times or 3 times, depending on what you want. But you keep going until it's fully sealed.
Okay,
Okay.
and then on the other side, you're going to be pinching it on the inside. Is that right? Or you're still on the outside?
So you're still on the outside. So you're thinking, you basically think of it as all the pleats should be on one side. So then you do it again and again. And now, so if you look at it like on this side, there's no pleats. On this side, all the pleats.
Ah.
Make sense?
Yeah. Mine are sort of getting there. They just don't look as nice.
Oh, really? I mean, it takes a little bit of practice, but when you pleat it, think of it as like lining it up with this crescent shape,
Yeah.
right? So if you're lining it up, then it typically looks pretty decent. But also I think because you made your own wrappers, right? So maybe it's not like
So they're a little thicker, I think, too, than maybe what they should be, but they're working.
yeah.
I mean, that's
Use egg instead of water. Do you think that makes them adhere and stay closed better or no difference? Honestly, no difference. I don't think it makes a difference at all.
kind of looks like it.
Yeah.
And then can you freeze the inside meat if you don't use it all up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you can sometimes if I don't use it all up, like I'll even sometimes just make meatballs or like, you can fry it up and use it as like a pasta topping or something like that. But yeah, you can freeze it. You can also just like finish making all your dumplings and um freeze the dumplings. So the way to store dumplings, so you can boil it all, cook it all, and then, you have kind of like less time to consume them. But if you wanted, you could freeze them like uncooked. And the way to do that is, it depends on how many dumplings you have and how big your freezer is, but you should, try to freeze it in a flat layer. Reason being, you don't want to put it in a bag, freeze it, and then it becomes one giant clump.
Yeah.
So freeze it first as a flat layer, and once they are individually frozen, you can then put it in a Ziploc bag and store it easier. Right.
It's been so nice to have those frozen now for like a quick meal because they're
Yeah.
like, it's so nice.
Yeah. So easy. Yeah, and the other way you can make the dumplings is to steam it, right? So if you have like a wok and a steamer attachment, it's really easy to do. Typically you see more like rice paper wrappers for steaming, but wheat wrappers work just fine. Steaming is considered a little bit healthier. I mean, boiling is totally fine. Pan fried is really nice though, because um it's just more fragrant, and then the texture, right, of the golden bottom is really nice. But like I find pan frying it just like makes your whole kitchen smell really good. It caramelizes because in the wheat wrapper there's like some sugars, right? So then that caramelizes and so adds like an extra flavor. But if you want to, use less oil, be more healthy, you can yeah, and then you can also make a dumpling lace. Yeah, exactly. So the dumpling lace, that's like, you see like the beautiful golden lace at the bottom. So what I would do there is like, arrange the dumplings in a pan, like a nice little round shape, right? Like uh filling the bottom of the pan. And then the lace is basically just flour, cornstarch, and water. And when that hits the pan on a nonstick pan, it forms this really beautiful kind of bubbly crust. And that's when you like see in the restaurants, like when they like take the pan and flip it upside down on a plate. You have this beautiful golden crispy lace on top. That's another benefit of curry powder. Wow. Okay, that sounds interesting.
We did have a question, Jig, is it better to cook them raw or freeze them raw or cook them and then freeze them cooked?
I think it's better to freeze them raw, because the reason being is in the texture of the wrapper. So once you cook it already, right, and it's cooked, you don't really want to cook it again. Like it'll be overcooked, right? It's like cooking pasta twice, like, you know what I mean? So I would not freeze, I would freeze it raw, so that and then the other thing is, and when we used to sell dumplings, we got this question a lot, which really confused me. People were like, do I defrost dumplings before I cook it? People thought you had to like defrost it, but no, the good thing about dumplings, because it's so small, even though the meat is raw, but it's frozen, you don't have to defrost it. You just pop it right into the frying pan, or boil it. You do not have to defrost it. Because people were defrosting and then it would become a gloopy mess. And yeah, so don't do that.
And then we also had a question if that's the reboard cutting board bed material.
It is.
Do you like it?
Do. I love this color. It always
It's
gives
so
me joy.
pretty.
Gives me joy whenever I use it. Yes. And I was cutting earlier on the smaller one because it comes with like a big one and a small one. I also like the material kitchen knives as well. I think I was using that. How well you make a dumpling is a factor in how well you will marry. Well, thank you. This is a lot of practice. The reason why we launched dumplings back in 2021, it was short-lived, but it was a very really exciting time, because the reason why I did it is because I was sick of making dumplings, because I was making so many dumplings all the time. I was like, how good would it be if I just had it frozen in my freezer? But good things don't last forever. We just decided to focus our efforts on sauce, because sauce is shelf stable. it's in the condiment aisle. Dumplings are frozen. It's in the frozen aisle. It's a completely different business. And of course, the storing and shipping of dumplings and the cold chain and all of that, the logistics is very, very complicated. And you know, we have but a small team, you know, and it wasn't feasible for us to have one small team. You know, we're a tiny company, right? We have less than, at the time we had less than, we have 15 people. Right now we only have 20 something. And you know, to have such a small team, ask them to run two separate businesses is very difficult, right? And you know, we're not like, we don't have like a ton of money and investors and everything. So that's why we had to discontinue it. But you know, who knows? Maybe one day they'll make a comeback, maybe temporarily or whatever. It was cool because we proved that we could do it. We proved that we could make a really superior product. We had, if you had tried our dumplings, yeah, they were the best. I really loved them. We had a soup dumpling, we had a pan, you know, like a scallop and shrimp and a mushroom and pork, I think. They were really, really good. But ultimately it was about focus and discipline. And you know, we're in the sauce business where we didn't want to dilute ourselves and dilute our attention and wanted to do one thing really well and not
Your mama is making your pizza. Be ready in about 20 minutes, okay?
Okay.
have I found a brand that I like? Um honestly, I think Mila's dumplings are pretty good. They're pretty expensive, but you know, I mean, it is expensive to ship frozen. So Mila, they do soup dumplings. I don't think they have anything other than soup dumplings. But and then there's Laoban, which is a DC based small business, chef driven. It's a restaurant and they have frozen dumplings that they actually sell in Whole Foods nationwide, so you can find it at every Whole Foods. Yeah, I think you can get Mila at Costco, but not every Costco, only certain Costcos. Yeah. Oh yeah, so that's a good question. So in terms of the pork, 1 pound of pork, you can substitute for a pound of any kind of protein. So I've also made this exact same recipe using tofu. So what you would do is you would take like firm tofu and then put like something heavy on it, you know, with some paper towels, get all the moisture out. And it's important to get all the moisture out because you don't want like your mixture to be super wet because then it'll seep out of the filling. I've also done it with vegetables. So what the trick with vegetables, because vegetables have a lot of moisture content, you don't just chop it and put it in raw. You typically blanch the vegetable first. Let's say it's spinach, right? Let's say you're using spinach or kale or whatever. You know, you dip it in hot water first. Then you squeeze all the water out of it. And then you chop it up. So you can use a food processor or you can use just your knife to chop up the vegetables. So a vegetarian option, I would use like vegetables, like leafy greens, and then I would add some rehydrated shiitakes. You can have like you can use tofu. Like I said, you can also use vermicelli, white ear mushrooms, carrots. Those are very popular combinations. So wood ear mushrooms, you would, yeah, you saute all the vegetables first so that again, like you get rid of the moisture as much as you can. Wood ear mushrooms are nice and crunchy. Vermicelli noodles, so you would kind of like cook those first, right? Like you would rehydrate them first. And then get the water out, squeeze the water out before you chop it up. But then back to proteins, like, yeah, I mean, shrimp, right? You can chop up shrimp, make a shrimp paste. Fish even. Beef, obviously. You can substitute with plant-based meats, Impossible, Beyond, anything. Just use like the 1 pound kind of measurement. Yeah. But the seasonings, like the fish sauce, and you can, if you want vegan, you can sub out the fish sauce and just use like they have like plant-based fish sauce now. There's a Korean brand that does that. Or like liquid aminos, right? And yeah, the seasonings are good for no matter what protein you use. But I would stick to the same seasonings and just sub out the protein. All right, how are we doing? I'm like almost through my wrappers. Any other questions? Once I'm done here, I'm gonna cook up some of the dumplings. I might pan fry it. Should I pan fry it or should I boil it? I can pan fry and show you how I do the pan
Pan
frying.
fry it, pan fry it, pan fry it.
Okay. And then we'll make a little bowl of our sauce and enjoy our dumplings. Team pan fry, yes. Okay. Did anyone get up to something fun for Lunar New Year? Any Lunar New Year? Oh, someone said, what do you love to eat or do during Lunar New Year? I mean, dumplings, hot pot, play mahjong. Yeah, I usually host something. I didn't do it this year because I was just tired. But I was lucky because I had a good friend hosted at her house, and she had this like chef come and prepare this incredible feast, which was awesome. It was like we had whole fish. We had like niangao, which is like rice cakes, stir-fried rice cakes. And what else do we have? Had Nuomi, which is like sticky rice, like fried sticky rice, which had like lapchung, like Chinese sausage, shiitakes, all kinds of things, nuts and stuff, and it was just so delicious. Year of the Dragon is my mother and brother's year, so we're going to make something with pork for my brother and shrimp for my mom. Nice.
Mhm.
The dumpling place in downtown San Jose. Ooh, nice. Yeah. Love a good soup dumpling. Yeah, it's a big year for us, Year of the Dragon is a very auspicious year. It's what are people's opinions on dragons and whether they're real or not?
They're real. No questions.
No question, right? Yeah. There was this like article recently where this farmer in China claimed to have found a dragon skeleton. Like you can Google this, and it actually looks like a dragon. It looks crazy. It's some kind of reptilian underwater reptilian thing that's ancient. And there are people out there who believe dragons were real at some point. You know.
I want dragons to be real for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, dragons are, a very revered animal in the zodiac. Considered very lucky. Considered to bring a lot of abundance and prosperity. They were said to bring like the rain and the, good weather for crops and stuff in ancient days. Should really celebrate specifically on one day. Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's like, I think February 10th was like, what was it, like New Year's Eve or something? Or it was either New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. I think it was New Year's Eve.
New Year's, well, I don't know. It said Lunar New Year's was February 10th. I don't know if that means it was eve of the day.
Yeah, so that's like, that's like a big one, but people get like a holiday in China for 10 days. So it's celebrated throughout. But yeah, so you can, but I think officially, I think in California it's now an official holiday, no?
Lunar New Year?
Yeah.
That I know of.
Well, I was at an event last year where I don't know, I think it was like someone from the city, like the mayor, maybe not the mayor, but somebody was there. We were celebrating the fact that they've made it a official holiday. However, I don't think people got the day off or anything. It was just like
In title only.
like how people have like National Cupcake Day or something like that. But I don't know,
Wait, it does say it's an official holiday as of
right?
2022.
Well, too
It
bad it was
grants state employees 8 hours of vacation.
8 hours of vacation.
Yeah, like the day off.
Oh, interesting.
We didn't take the day off.
Well, it was a Saturday.
Yeah, it was-
We would take, I don't know, Friday or Monday. But yeah. Right. So it is a national holiday. 14 states that made it official. Nice. So in like, I know we have like different ethnicities or cultures in here, like for Lunar New Year is celebrated by many cultures, right? Like there's Chinese, and then there's Vietnamese, right? Where it's just like Tet or something. And then
Right.
what's either a Korean one or like I don't know. Yeah, I feel like there's different ones all across Asia. Maybe there's a Thai one as well. But yeah, I do feel like growing up, like I only ever knew it as Chinese New Year, and then now it's like, you say Lunar because so many cultures all celebrate it. Because anyone who uses the lunar calendar. Koreans celebrate the same Lunar New Year called No. Huh. Okay, biggest population of Chinese outside of China. Honestly, don't know. Maybe it's I don't
I'm
know.
Googling. Who wants to guess while I Google?
I feel
And
like I feel like it would be Singapore, right? Or something. Or maybe not. Singapore doesn't have
Yeah.
that. Malaysia. But yeah, Canada is definitely that's how we ended up there. I'm Canadian. Um
So Thailand.
Thailand?
Let's say in the US. This is what Wikipedia says, but
In the US, it's probably either New York or LA, right?
It's like kind of hard to people. But yeah, it's gotta be just New York, right? Like,
Yeah. But what's the best Chinatown? I would say it's probably outside of Toronto.
really?
Yeah. The Greater Toronto area has really, really good. Oh, Vancouver is pretty good too. Pretty good Chinatowns. Oh my gosh, I have so much meat left.
It's actually a pretty wild little New York Times graphic. There's like a right near like Marfa, Texas, there's a really big Chinese population. Like there's some very interesting little graphs here.
Yeah, that is interesting. I don't know anything about Marfa, Texas, other than that
Super
product.
hipster. Yeah.
Store. My last wrapper.
Still filling, oh no.
Okay. All right.
Never mind, I know.
Sorry. How are we all doing?
Does anyone want to show their dumplings? I can remove the spotlight and spotlight you if you want to show.
Ooh, wait, who is this?
Zoe, look at those. Those look great.
Yeah, all these bell-shaped dumplings.
You made so many.
Love it. Also, nice sweatshirt. I'm loving the blue sweats that I'm seeing.
Oh, Julia's got some too. Do you see Julia?
Wait. Oh, that's
Look at
beautiful.
those little folds. You look good.
Yeah, perfect. Looks great. Okay, I'm gonna make my way over to the stove. Oh, gosh. Okay.
I'll pin the food cam again. Where did it go? There you are. Kamiko, thanks for repping always. Appreciate you. This is a fair point, Randy. Marfa has 1,700 people. It's just a funny little like right at that bend of Texas. It's not near any big city. It's funny.
Oh.
And pan fry.
Got this caraway pan. This is not the right lid, but okay. Use
Big
this
lid.
oil. All right. So turn on your stove, medium high. I'm gonna just use this like avocado spray oil because I have it here, but use any kind of neutral oil really. Okay, make sure there's enough oil coating all this. Make sure you're using a non-stick pan as well. All right, so medium high, about like 6 or 7. What we want to do first is kind of brown the bottom of our pot sticker. You can start kind of laying it down. I usually like to kind of put it in this kind of shape so that you optimize your space within the pan.
That is such a satisfying shape. I have literally never thought of doing that.
Yeah, what do? You just like
It's
dump it all?
chaos, like utter chaos. That is so lovely and organized. Look at that beautiful wreath of dumplings.
Yeah, dumpling rings. All right, so. Yeah. Okay, so you're just kind of gonna leave it here until we check the bottom and it's kind of golden, so it's gonna take a couple minutes. And we want to do this first before we add any water. And we're gonna add water to this in order to steam it so that the whole thing gets cooked. But the trick to having like the golden bottom is to do that first. All right, just kind of like how you sear meat before you braise it. So it's starting to bubble. A little while longer, and then just have some water nearby.
I want to hear in chat, are people more team pan fried or do you usually boil your dumplings?
Pan fried. It's just more fun. I boil it when
But because we still have boiling beans.
sometimes you just can't be bothered, you know. I think I steam probably the least just because of how long it takes.
I agree. I don't have the patience.
Okay, it's starting to sizzle. You can see it's like starting to form a little bit of a white crust. Just gotta wait a little bit longer. Yeah, I used to have dumpling eating contests with myself as well, and try to one up myself each time. When I was a kid, I would eat like literally like 30 something at a time, and nowadays I can't even imagine eating more than 10. Yeah.
I love like Kamiko's like comment too of how like the dumplings are just so universal. Like every culture has a dumpling, basically. So fun.
Oh
Pierogies
yeah,
are basically a dumpling, Polish dumpling, Russian
totally.
dumplings.
I love a pierogi. Oh, okay, it's starting to really sizzle now. So you see it's starting to get golden. Wait a little longer. You can lower the heat a bit if you want. Is a gnocchi a dumpling? No, is it?
Doesn't have anything in it. Does a dumpling have to have something in it? I don't like, is an empanada a dumpling? Ravioli. A ravioli is kind of like a dumpling.
Ravioli is definitely a dumpling. It's like a wonton. So empanada is a dumpling?
I think we're saying empanada is a dumpling. It's like a fried dumpling.
Oh, you know what? I was like watching today. There was someone was saying that bows are dumplings. I'm like, no, that's a bow. Like, right? Even though I think what differentiates bows, like, but then xiaolongbao is like soup dumplings is also a dumpling. But I think what differentiates baos from dumplings is that bao is like a leavened dough.
Yeah,
Leavened,
yeah, yeah,
leavened.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Like
fluffy.
it's steamed,
Yeah.
fluffy, not like, but I mean, if xiaolongbao is a dumpling, then maybe some of these pan-fried baos are also dumpling. I don't know.
It's
Oh.
complicated.
Yeah,
make
yeah. So waffle wraps are really good for ravioli, actually. So at Bonnie's, which is that restaurant in Brooklyn that we did a pop-up with for my cookbook. Oh, see how beautiful it is now?
Oh, look at
Look at
that golden. Yes.
dripping juices out. Okay, so now we're ready to add our water. So just be careful. It's gonna sizzle and splash. So, all right, I'm gonna put some water in. You kind of just go by eye. Like a quarter of a cup, maybe, depending on how many dumplings you have. Put the lid on right away to trap in the steam. So now that we have the golden bottom, we just need to cook the rest of the dumpling, and the steam is doing that right now. All right. And you kind of just wait until you can kind of tell like the dumpling wrapper is getting translucent, so it's cooking. It's no longer that raw, floury look. And the water is gonna like, even though you have the lid on, the water's gonna like slowly evaporate. So at a certain point, when you see that the dumpling is pretty cooked through, you would lift up the lid and let the rest of the water finish evaporating. And once that happens, your dumpling is done, okay? But you know, give it a couple minutes. Yeah. Yeah, so there is a dish at Winston, or sorry, not Winston. What did I just say? Calvin's restaurant in New York is called
Bonnie's? Bonnie's?
Bonnie's. Yeah. There's a dish that they make that's called ravioli on brodo or something. But it's basically just a Chinese wonton in some broth. But it's yeah, it's totally interchangeable. Yeah, because then if anything with meat is a dumpling, then you would argue that spring rolls would be a dumpling, but
Ooh,
Egg roll.
the controversy. I feel like that half moon shape has to have something here, you know? Because a bao isn't a half moon, but like an empanada, pierogi, I forget the name of the little Russian ones. They're all like little half moons. I don't know.
thanks for joining us. All right.
I think you
Ooh,
can
starting
bring a dumpling that you want.
Yeah.
You know,
No
I mean,
rules. No rules.
stuff, fluff
Yeah,
stuff dough, and I think like spring roll wrappers and rice paper wrappers don't seem like dough to me, so I probably wouldn't call them that. And doesn't bao mean bag in Chinese? So I mean, anything that looks like a purse or a bag.
Yeah, I'm changing it. I just can't figure out how to do this.
How many? That's what the Russian.
Okay, so, ooh, I've got these like real fancy Year of the Dragon Williams Sonoma plates. that I-
Ooh, wait, I gotta spotlight
Ooh.
you. Look at these plates, show them again.
Oh,
Oh,
how cool.
wow.
I know.
Trying to lower it, I just don't know how to do it.
There's different ones too. Look at this.
Ooh,
Yeah, they had a
so
really cool.
beautiful.
I know they were sold out. I bought them a month ago, and yeah. Okay, now look at the dumplings. Look at them. They're so beautiful.
You look lovely.
So now it's clearly been cooked through. I lower the heat a little bit just so it doesn't get too dry. Sometimes you might want to add even more water if it's still not cooked through. But no, with steak, I can check to see, but the bottom is still beautiful golden brown. And it's pretty much
I'm
done,
just so
you know?
hungry. This looks so good.
Yeah, it smells good, it looks good. It's pretty much ready. You know, there's still, I think most of the water has evaporated. So I'm gonna turn my heat. I still have more dumplings, but I'm gonna cook it later. So right now, I have a plate. So when you serve it, you can either serve it like the pleat side up or like, you know, the golden side up, and it'll look nice this way as well.
Ooh, the golden side up. That's pretty.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And then I know we're at time, but so I'll just quickly show you how to mix the sauce. Time are we supposed to go till 4:30?
Yeah.
Okay. So, looks so good.
It looks so pretty. So now are we
Mhm.
gonna see what we do with the soy sauce
Yes.
infusion? Okay.
Okay, so let me move this over to this table here.
So pretty.
Okay. All right, so for the sauce. Now we pretty much have like half a cup of soy sauce, right? And because like you add half a cup of brown sugar to half a cup of soy sauce, you're gonna end up pretty much still with half a cup. So the idea here is now to use equal parts soy sauce and equal parts chili oil. I'm not gonna do half a cup of chili oil right now because I don't need all that. I can just take what I'm gonna use for my dumplings. So I might measure like, call it like a tablespoon. But basically the formula is like, is equal parts, okay? Yeah, I know. I like lucked out on this Williams Sonoma stuff because they had a whole collection. They had like these beautiful bowls, they had these trays, melamine trays, they had napkins, like table runners. It was really crazy.
Before we go into the Zhong sauce, we have two questions. One, how much water did you add to the pan after they were frying?
So it depends on how many dumplings you have in your pan, how big your pan is, but for the amount that I had, I put roughly quarter of a cup. So what you want is just like for there to be like about this much water kind of height to the dumpling. And You put the lid on, you kind of wait until it mostly evaporates, and then you take the lid off and let all of the rest of the water evaporate.
And then Albert was wondering if we are boiling them, how do you know when they're done? Is it like they wait till they float, or how long do you boil them for?
If you boil them, yeah.
Yeah.
If you boil them, wait till they float, and I would wait a little longer, like after they start floating, maybe another minute, just to be sure. And then you can always just try it and try one and see. Yeah. At that point, it won't be risky. Yeah, totally. Like it is just a delicious delivery device for the sauces. Exactly. And that's why we also launched dumplings, because we just wanted people to have an easier time eating or enjoying our sauces. So, all right. So what I'm gonna do is mix up my dumpling sauce. Look at how cute this bowl is that I got from Sweet Club, I think.
It's so cute.
It's got a deer on it. Cute. Okay, so I'm gonna take about a tablespoon of this sauce, all right? Put it in here. And then I'm gonna use a chili oil. I'm just gonna use the Citron Gold. If you don't have Citron Gold, like I said, you can use your own chili oil that you make, or just skim the oil off of the top of your chili crisp. Now, equal parts, right? This is gonna be a little spicy because Citron Gold, as you know, is quite spicy. Just that. Okay. So now Citron Gold. Now garlic. So all I really need is just like maybe for this amount, probably 1 clove. It's not as good, but like pre peeled garlic is just easier. You want to mince it.
Are you gonna send us a link to the recording?
Yes, I'm going to try to, and sometimes because we're doing this as a meeting and not a webinar, it's a little bit harder to. So if you don't get one, or send me an email at elizabeth@flybyjane.com. I'll put it in the chat too.
Elizabeth, can we just put it on YouTube?
And it will be on our YouTube. Yeah. By tomorrow, middle of the day, it'll be on our YouTube.
Oh, we can just put it on YouTube and then link it, you know, in a follow-up email. Okay, that's it. So garlic, chili oil, sweet soy sauce. That is the foundation of Zhong.
Better.
Do you guys have it in front of you? Are you trying it? It's really good. It's very
Is it
good.
supposed to be thick?
Yeah. It's pretty thick. I mean, if you've had our Zhong sauce, it's pretty thick. All right, moment of truth. Dip a dumpling in here. Very spicy. Mmm. Mmm. It's very good. What do you guys think? Yeah, this is the recipe for Zhong sauce. This is it. This is our secret recipe. Mmm. Oh my God. So good. Mmm. All right. Questions? Any thoughts? Any feedback? Oh my God, this is too spicy. Ah,
Is it too spicy?
yeah, because You know, I used our Sichuan Gold, which is a spiceless
Yeah.
oil that. Oh my God, I should have just used the chili crisp. Mm, yeah, if you didn't cook along, please make this. It's really, really good.
Yeah, they're easy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was fun. We will
You like them?
we will hopefully do this again soon, but I don't know if you guys all know, but I am expecting my first baby. So I'm just 2 weeks away from my due date. So this will probably be the last cooking show for a little while at least. Thank you so much. It's a boy.
Good luck.
Where do we
Thank
find
you.
the video for this?
We'll send it after, we'll send it by tomorrow. So you'll see it in email. We'll have it up on our YouTube and also, yeah, we'll send you the link. But yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're really excited. It's a Dragon Boy. He's due in a couple weeks and yeah, we'll see some updates. I'm sure we'll send some updates. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. It's been really fun. And we'll see you soon.
Thanks,
you.
y'all. Bye.
Thank you.